Hey guys, welcome back to Almost Inevitable Design. My name is still PK and I make WordPress tutorials for website developers and designers. So we are going to go into lesson 2 of this series. It is still going to be about length units, units of length units, because it's really important and it leads into typography really well, okay? Because we're already talking about typography. You can see we're talking about margins and font sizes and all that. And we need to talk about the other guys, all right? VW. Now, Vmax, Vmin, same thing. Not the same thing, but they're simple once you get VH and VW. Percentages are easy. We'll get to that in a second. And CHs are not an issue at all. So all we need is just one more lesson and we're pretty good with all the units. And I'll release these two videos together just so, you know, you can get this out of the way, and then later you can go into lesson 2. I'll just call this lesson 1-2. How's that? All right, and then lesson 2 for typography, and that should probably sort itself out. Okay, now let's get into the lesson. Start, and there we go. All right, so now that we learned what rem and ems are, right? Rem is the root em size, and em is inheriting whatever font size any of its direct parents has or itself has. So here you can see it's inside DD container. It's inside container, right? But container, so the root is 20. The container has 16. All right. And you can see H1 has 2 rem. Paragraph has 1 em. What do you think the paragraph size is going to be? It should be 16. H1 should be 40. All right, let's see if that works. So H1 computed is, as you can see, 40, right? 40. And paragraph, as you can see, is 16. Okay, that's how rems and ems work. Okay, if this were a rem, of course it would become 20. Right? Everybody on board? Cool. Now, let's get to the really fun stuff. VW and VH. VW is viewport width. Okay, viewport width. It is the size of the browser, the width of the browser. Okay, viewport height is the height of the browser. Okay, so I'm going to pull this guy out. All right, make it sort of fit here. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. And I'll pull this all the way up. So now you can see that is viewport height. This guy, that is the height, and that is the width, right? It's the width, that's the height, right? Cool. Let's give that a try. All right, so 100 VW is 100% of the viewport width. So that means that 1 VW is 1% of the viewport width. Okay, let's give that a try. Right now we see here it's 90%. I got that from the framework because that's how it's set at the moment. I put that in there. Usually I use 94. Well, not usually. Sometimes I use 94. Sometimes I use 90. But yeah, it's 90 right now, and it's 60 rem. So that makes it. Maybe I'll make it a lot wider. There we go. Yeah, that makes it 1200 at max width. All right, and if it goes below 1200, well, if 90% is below 1200, then it can't go any maxer with her. So it stays, it gets whatever number the 90% is. And because we have that, right? Now, if we give this, for example, Let's give that. No, let's not do that. All right, there we go. That's 90% of whatever width the thing is. This having like there's no there's not enough of a structure that the VWs cause any havoc anywhere. So I'll just leave that for now. I think the best way to see how this works is giving that guy a font size of whatever VW. Okay, so let's try that. Now, a lot of people think that VW is a really good catch-all for responsive font sizes. It is not always the case because, and I'll get to that, it's inside a container. And the container width, it's not always relative to the width of the screen. Okay, the container width is not always relative to the width of the screen because, as you see here, it has a max width. That is how a lot of containers are styled. So a lot of containers have their width clamped. I can't say clamped. There's a limit to the width because if it goes way too far out, then it just defeats the purpose of having a container. All right. Now, if it's a full width section where the content pretty much stretches the full width, then it should be okay. Let's see what I mean about that. All right. So I'll save that. Now this browser width is, I don't know actually, right? So let me check. You know what? So let's try 300. Yeah, that's way too. All right, let's try that, and let's try something like this. All right, that looks okay. All right, yep. All right. So let's reload that, and you can see now it's 2VW, which is 28.2167. All right, let's see if that works. 1411, 1411. Yep. Times 0.02 equals 28.22. Right? So that's 28.2167, which is the same thing, right? That's how that works. So, oh yeah, you can also see that the effective number is up to 4, I guess. Yeah. So now, let's say, for example, we want something larger than that, like 4. That's huge. You know what? Let's make the margin bottom 0.5 rem. Oops, rem. And you can see all that. Okay, cool. Now, if I change the width, then it'll be smaller. Yay! Right? Yeah! That's cool. Sort of, right? Now, the problem with this is, now I can't make, it's hard to make it larger because this is as far as it goes for the screen capture area. But if I go a little too high, then it's going to be disproportionate from the container. All right. Now, if smaller sizes is not too bad. All right. Let's have a look at this because it is 480 pixels wide and the font size is 60. This makes sense because the container is also 90% of the thing. So it's 90% of the VW. So it's proportionate to that. That's fine. Okay. But if the container is contained at 1200, but the VW, see, it's 1200, but the VW still keeps becoming larger, then it's disproportionate. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Is that, yeah? I hope that makes sense. So, all right, have a look at this. 6, it's too much math. I can't. Anyway, so the it's disproportionate, all right? It becomes too large. So it's not a good idea to do just that because of the container, okay? I will go back to regular size like that. Okay, so that's why it's a better idea to use things like clamps or media queries. All right, we'll get to that sometime later. I'm definitely gonna have to add more to this, more lessons to this course. Anyways, that's why you need to be careful when you're using VW. All right. Now I've seen a lot of websites find their own solutions. Clamp is a great way of doing it. Clamp means it doesn't go above a certain size, which is great because of the container. And also means it doesn't go below a certain size, which is also great because on mobile, you don't want it to be too small because desktop is width, landscape, mobile is portrait. So the VWs have different significance and different ratios. Also, you have the container. So VWs are not the catch-all solution for everything. VHs are, so I think that makes sense, right? So I can go over VH real quick. VH is 100% of that. Now that height, also same thing for the VW. Same thing as a VW. Desktops are landscape, phones are portrait, so VHs also change. So it's not a good idea to set text as a VH. I've never seen that happen. It would be very interesting if it did, but I've never seen that happen because it just really doesn't make much sense to, you know, get the font sizes to be proportionate to the height of the viewport. So that's not the best idea. However, sections are good as V100, VH 100, 100 VH. So let's say, for example, this is minimum height 100 VH, right? If I do that, then you can see that's padding, 6 rem on top, right? 6 rem on top in the padding, right? And then this guy, you can see the height, right? You see over here, you see the height is 506. See that? Height is 506, which is the same as the height here. All right, so that's 100 VH. That's 100 VH. Minimum height, so at least 100 VH. If it goes taller, then it'll stretch, but keep it at least 100 VH. Now, if you want 100 VH for your hero section, of course, it's better if it's if this is for the first section. So, oops. So, if I do that, then this is 506. But that's the minimum height, and then it has the padding. If I take out the padding, then it's now 506. There you go, right? Does that all make sense? All right, cool. Now, the problem with having 100 VH for the height for a hero section is that a lot of cases, the header, where the menu and the navigation and the logo is, that also takes up space. If it is overlapping, then it's fine for this to be 100 VH, but if it's not and it pushes this down, then the hero section will be pushed down just as much as the header height is. So that's not a good idea either. So what you actually need to do is make it a calculation and then take away like whatever the header height is, and that's a much better solution. Okay? How do I stop? Okay, I stopped it. All right, so I think that covers a little bit. I'm going to have to do one more. Units are so important, and there's so much misunderstanding and misuse everywhere and misguided advice that people put out so much that I think it's better that I cover all this before we go on because this is probably the most important parts, right? Okay, cool. I will see you in the next video, and we can probably finish the length unit units of length in the next video, and then we'll go on to typography, probably go on to 1-3, and that should be it. All right, I'll see you there. Bye.